Welcome back to the deciding game in this series between Phoenix1 and Cloud9. Cloud9 put up a hell of a fight in the early game, but that team comp just took over the mid game for Phoenix1.
Yeah, I kind of equate that whole series or that whole draft to, it's kind of like Lucian top, right? If you have control of the entire early game with your draft, does that make it a bad draft if you mess up once and then the game will snowball back on you? But you had all the options and all the ways to control the early game, right? So does that make it bad or does that make it good because you had the ways of actually winning the game there? I would feel like it's a risky draft,
yes,
right? And it's one that can have that happen. And against a team that can play defense and has tanks that can scale, I would say it goes a little over the line and it gets into that bad territory.
I think in general we've seen Cloud9 gain a lot of leads recently, but not necessarily convert, and they were struggling to do that last week. I think mostly not identifying how they should be winning the game. This time around, they knew what they needed to, and just didn't execute that well. So we'll see what changes here on the blue side for Cloud9. Let's see what Phoenix1 have cooked up over on the red. LeBlanc, the first ban there. There's Tariq, and it instantly joined for C9.
Yeah.
And that standard Zac ban for Phoenix1 to start off their champ select.
I feel like Phoenix1, I think you ban Maokai. I feel like the Maokai priority is so high, but then you have to always think about, does that mean they just first pick Cho'Gath? What happens? But I feel like Maokai is just a cut above almost everything else in the game that you can play in these roles, and it's so hard to deal with. And once again, it's blue side Maokai for Cloud9, which means your jungler is going to have a super leash with those saplings on both sides, which Cloud9 had set up last game. So blue side Maokai, I think first pick, a lot of power in that champion.
Does feel like it, but we'll see what Cloud9's final ban is here. Might go for another support. Don't want to pick on Xpecial, but certainly a lot of discussion happening. Last ban is Thresh, yep. So again, going to pick on Xpecial, take out the Tariq from game 2.
This means
once again deny the Thresh.
They traded the Tariq ban for the Nidalee ban that they had in game 1. Now, what do you ban? Elise is very common, but I don't think you do it. The Blitzcrank is something they had banned on red side last time, and I think Maokai.
Have to think about Maokai, have to think about Kayn. Phoenix1 have a lot to potentially ponder here.
That's true. It's a lot of pressure.
And again, taking all that time. They actually banned Bard, so they're going to pinch the support pool. Kind of match Cloud9 there, but now C9, all right, well, do we just do the obvious thing and take our top laner here? Maokai's been so successful already in the series that jumps out as the expected first pick, but Cloud9 going to deliberate.
Yeah, and last time Cloud9 was blue side in this series, Caitlyn was up, so they first picked Caitlyn, and then Cho'Gath went over to Phoenix1. And I feel like you can't leave Maokai up, or else they just pick Maokai Cho'Gath in their 1-2 spots. So they have to pick it, and I feel like you have to answer with the Cho'Gath here as well.
Well, Phoenix1 maybe think that Cloud9 don't play Cho'Gath. They didn't take it on the red side last game, although they did want to get their nice bottom lane. So hard to exactly say it, but Gragas, who's hit a lot of bans this series already, is actually going to be that first pick here for P1.
Yeah, banned in the second series by Phoenix1, and now it's kind of been that most played jungler right now across all regions, the one that's left up that people can play. And there they go. Be picking 2 tanks very early on. It's Tank Wars.
Certainly feels
World
that
of
way.
Tanks.
Yeah, something like that. As that Cho'Gath does move in for Phoenix1's second pick. Cloud9 considering this next one here. If they want Kayn, they probably have to take him in this phase.
Yeah. Something that happens, though, to the meta, whenever you have big tanks that have things like the Thornmail being rushed and stuff like that, I feel like the AD carry becomes more utility, right? Sivir, Ashe will maybe come back, Jhin will still be there, maybe Varus. But when you have things like Caitlyn or Tristana, it becomes kind of harder to, because like her power spike lines up with tank power spikes. So having early game activity to shut down tanks is kind of what you want more from your AD carry position.
Well, there is the Kayn pick for Contractz, so clearly feeling a lot of confidence in the pick. And it has got that Maokai Kayn again that they can really jumpstart that early jungle, but Braum also picked up here for C9 with so many supports already banned. They're kind of trying to take the best one left.
Yeah, I just realized like Kayn got locked in the first time, I went crazy. Kayn gets locked in the second time, and I've seen it already. Not as excited anymore. But Contractz playing the Kayn in the game 1, he had so much help. And Braum, I would say, is the best super leasher for the bottom side. And blue side, I feel like Cloud9, right now, these first 3 champions are like some of the best champions for setting up a jungle leash in the entire game, especially on blue side. So Contractz is going to get a lot of help this game.
I mean, did in game 1, it worked out excellently for the team. Well, I imagine that will follow suit here in the third. Corki, though, is the pick for Pirean in the mid lane, so we'll see if Phoenix1 do want to protect this by throwing a couple bans at Jensen's way.
Yeah, I think they'll do that. Maybe the Syndra, and the Kassadin is actually a hard counter to the Corki because Caston's passive is he takes 15% less magic damage at all times, and because Corki is 80% magic damage on his passive, that means you actually start the game with pre-nerf Ninja Tabi's passive against Corki. So you're taking 12% less auto attack damage from Corki the entire time, so Caston can't get poked out as easily.
Well, good ban there for P1 as Cloud9 with Zyra once again continuing to pick on Xpecial here in Champ Selects.
It's interesting. It's a lot of these like team fighters, but it's strange because I didn't really ever consider Xpecial like a gigantic Zyra player. So interesting that they would try to go for that because he doesn't really play too much for the lane from what we've seen.
I like the Orianna ban though for Phoenix1, taking that kind of stable pick away from Jensen.
But there's still Syndra.
There's always still Syndra.
Yeah, and like Corki's okay into Syndra. Most Corkis will take like the exhaust and try to match the exhaust with the ultimate. But I don't think it's like an overwhelmingly strong matchup against the Syndra in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, Corki has almost no overwhelmingly strong matchups. He just wants to
neutral.
shoot minions out of his little plane and then get 3 items and win. As there's a Rakan ban from Cloud9. So continuing to take supports away from Xpecial, but if Xpecial really wants a playmaking support, Alistar is still available. I mean, I'm very impressed already that Xpecial, a player who's been very narrow in his support selections, all split long, and it's kind of always been that way, is all of a sudden just branching out. He's shown us 2 new support picks already. Now, granted, one of the most Janna that didn't work out too well, but the willingness to play more things than is something we may not have expected from the player as Sivir is locked in here for Arrow once more.
Yeah, I don't like the Sivir so much here. It'll help the Cho'Gath get in, and like that pairing is super potent, but the Braum just blocks the ricochets, blocks the boomerang blades, makes it very ineffective in a team fight, and now you can play pretty much whatever you want in the AD carry position up against it. So you can play something like the Kog'Maw and the Hyperscale. I think that's actually not a bad pick here at all because you have a good front line that can peel for you with the Maokai and the Braum, and then you have mixed source of damage here because you aren't all magic damage here with the Kog'Maw and Maokai. You do have the Kayn.
Well, there is the Kog'Maw for Sneaky, so what's the final pick here for Jensen?
Is it Zed? I'm just saying. I mean, lethality's back, maybe. You never know. I can hope, I can dream, but I'll probably be disappointed, just like always.
Had a lot of surprises already, but looks like it may just be a standby here for Jensen.
Well, if you always, if last game you lost because you got outscaled, let's just play some scaling champions into these tanks. Let's not make it so we have to play perfectly the entire 30+ minutes of the game.
Yeah, you want to talk about tank busting capabilities? Cassio and Kog'Maw, 2 pretty good champions at that role. So nice little finish there on the carries for Cloud9. And now just the last pick required here for Phoenix1. Looks like Xpecial actually going to get counter pick on us here for pick number 5, but it's kind of what I expected here. Rakan's gone, that's fine. I'll take Alistar.
Yep, Speedy Cow in the bottom lane. Got the buff to his ultimate that is now 5% higher damage reduction at all ranks. So 55 going all the way up to 75. Makes it so turret diving is easier at the rank 1 ultimate. But right now, I'm looking at these compositions. Cloud9, now they have the composition that scales, I would say, a little bit better here with the Kog'Maw and the Cassiopeia, but then they have the early game jungler who will get a really good leash from his entire team. So Phoenix1, you have to watch out for the early unpredictability of Kayn in your jungle, especially when you run a team that has like this Cho'Gath and this Corki, which if they show up to try and reinforce, they don't really add too much to the fact like Kayn can walk through walls and stuff. So I feel like Contractz will try to be a little tricksy in the early game, try to allow his team to scale up and get whatever advantages he can.
Certainly feels like a champion that is very hard to predict where he can go. And I think the other thing for me is that MikeYeung played Kha'Zix in game 1, which is a significantly more robust early game jungler. Gragas might find himself insanely far behind depending on how the early pathing goes. So certainly a lot of attention will be paid early on to the jungle routes. Cloud9 had it practiced to perfection in game number 1 and have all the tools to set it up again here. So certainly a lot to look for here. I think Phoenix1 rightfully picking a lot of fun and strong engage. So the carries may be good for Cloud9, but if they get picked off, you do almost no damage. In fact, you do 0 damage one day. That's why it's the best CC zone.
Exactly. And game 1, I hated the P1 comp because of the lack of engage. And now game 2, they went really hard on it. And game 3, they're like, all right, let's do it again. Not as hard, because Maokai got taken away. But we'll see what happens here. This is the final game here to decide who was really second place at Rift Rivals.
That's really what it's all about. Well, we'll see what happens here. Again, C9 kind of fanning out. I wonder if P1 will adjust their game plans here at all. Trying to spot out where Contractz is starting and maybe slow some of it down. We did see C9 try and invade towards that Raptor camp before, and looks like Herald and Xpecial are peeking around the area.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to get some type of ward or some type of vision as Arrow and Xpecial to like push in and be like, all right, wait for the timer. Is there anybody else here? Just make sure, because they haven't seen where Arrow or where Sneaky is. And if you face check a Braum, it's so difficult because he's just going to allow the Kog'Maw to get stacks on you. So they can't really get a ward in to see if the Maokai's placed any saplings, but Impact's going to walk down. It's going to make it Sapling Town. Throw them down. They last 30 seconds at rank 1, depending on your HP. So he throws one down. It's going to be on that red buff. 32 seconds, so he is running some early HP.
There's that one, and I think Impact will place 2 more. Even had one to scout earlier, as P1 did not get any vision down. A nice neutral ward placed at the ramp, I think, or just around the river area, but Contractz should be off to the races once more. You can see Sneaky and Smoothie already positioned for this leash. This will be this time, Zig should not be surprised.
Exactly. This is the exact same route, but the question is it a Zig gank route? Who knows?
Contractz going to quickly grab that red. Actually just walks over, smites it, and leaves instantly.
All right, so he's already like a camp ahead at this point. I would say he's half a camp ahead. He just needs to do his blue buff. Don't think there's a little kitty form in this bush, so.
No, that's true. No extra help from Maokai this time. So, I mean, might be a buff somewhat. You see Maokai a little earlier, although I guess he put them down. So you actually have no idea with maybe looking at mana pools, and we're getting a lot of layers deep here to try and figure out exactly where he's going. But definitely see where Contractz goes. He's going to hit level 3 very speedy once again. 225 pretty much.
Yep. See, MikeYeung is actually trying to answer this by a full red side clear with Krugs, which will get him 3. He's going to walk through the wall. Oh, not going to wall walk yet. Wants to save that. It's longer cooldown.
Tracking for the red buff and not going to see it. So Contractz going to maybe dip up towards that top side as Pirean and Jensen fighting it out again. MikeYeung clearing all those Krugs out, and smart pathing this time. Contractz went for the invade instead of the gank, and Contractz had nothing really to take there. Yeah,
MikeYeung did a full red side clear into a back, so he'll be able to purchase a machete and then a control ward. Usually, when you do that path on Rek'Sai, it's kind of common, and you back for a long sword and control ward. But Gragas, you want to go tanky now? It's not so much for like Amp Tome or anything. The Runic Echoes, go for Cinderhole.
Contractz instead is going to clear out the rest of that left side of his jungle as Sneaky and Smoothie fighting in. Dude does get the stun down onto Alistar as Xpecial went in for a bit of a trade, but pretty neutral as far as that total exchange goes. Looks like bot lane's sticking even on the farm as well. Arrow going to want to try and push in as often as possible, as fast as possible. And looks like we'll be able to do so here as this wave is about to crash towards the turret.
Yeah, and they know that Kayn should be on this side of the map soon because he was top, cleared his full jungle. And it looks like Xpecial roaming towards mid, Pirean low.
Contractz here as well, though.
But they do see Xpecial wrapping around. They're going to try to collapse on it.
Yep, Contractz seeing good headbutt there from Xpecial. Contractz still trying to dash towards him. Does get the slowdown from the W. Smoothie also roaming up here. Does move in, does land the Q. Pirean low. Sneaky and Arrow going to try and fight it out, but Kog'Maw a little bit better in the 1v1 right now.
Yeah. Arrow was able to kind of run away with the Warlord's Bloodlust over the fervor of battle. Just kite it out.
Everyone gets away safely. Xpecial also takes a long way back to lane, but no harm there.
I saw that Xpecial was using this skin, and I was like, does he strike you as somebody who would use the cowbell? I feel like Xpecial's like really kind of stoic about those types of things. I don't take him for a troll, you know?
Certainly not Ole.
Yeah, exactly. It's like after he all in there, I would have given him like 3 donks or something, you know? Would have hit that cowbell 3 times.
Not a donker.
Nope.
Well, maybe if he gets first blood.
Maybe.
He'll mix it up there as Jensen exhausts on a Pirean. This could be a solo kill. Pirean too far forward. Does get the heal down auto. Not enough. Barely gets away there.
All summoner spells used there in that trade. And Storm Raider Surge is such a potent mastery, and we're seeing almost all mid laners take that now that are casters. Like we're seeing Talia, we're seeing Cassiopeia, even Syndra's do it, because the follow-up is all you really need. And once you go for the burst, you get to decide if you're going in or if you're coming out. And Pirean used his Valkyrie earlier, so at that point you have just a huge movement advantage.
Yeah. Jensen going to get some help here from Contractz just to shove that wave out, so Pirean will lose quite a lot of this wave.
Contractz took a CS. No food for him. Jensen will deny it now.
We'll see what Jensen has to buy. Probably an early tier. There it is, as Pirean returns with a respectful non-magic mantle. Smoothie backing onto Arrow, though, but Xpecial going to answer back. Stun about to land. Does hit onto Smoothie, but the damage is back in. Xpecial, no ultimate, forced to burn the heal by Arrow.
Flash.
Good flash from Xpecial.
Yeah, had to flash there before Sneaky flashed or healed to catch up and give another auto attack in. And Xpecial went for the Ignite as well. Instead of having something like the Exhaust for Cassiopeia or Kog'Maw in the mid-late game, it looks like they're just trying to go for some kill pressure here. It's not quite Thunder Cow like old school Mata, where you would just, run Thunder Lords as well.
Yeah, not the same all-out aggression, but...
Yeah, it's actually kind of an awkward choice because you're in this position where you'd want to run Exhaust against their hyper carries, but the Ignite will help you kind of kill like Kayn if he gets ahead, right? Because Kayn went Darkin last time and he got to a point where his spell vamp was just so high you need an Executioner's Calling, so the Ignite is kind of a necessity against that.
I think for me, against Braum, you just need some sort of pressure.
Yeah.
If you take Exhaust, you're effectively conceding the lane in every all-in, so Xpecial kind of threatening, I suppose, if nothing else.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's just kind of in an awkward place in terms of both of them would be good. It's just, do you want to be good late or do you want to be good early?
Yep.
And of course, most people will elect for the good early option because then you have more pressure on the map at the beginning. And if you transition that into like a good lead for yourself or any type of lead, then it's better than having to rely on your opponents not doing anything. That's why proactivity is so, sought after in League of Legends in the draft.
Certainly better to be the aggressor and asking questions rather than answering them as Impact. Just going to clear out a couple minions here, slapping them under the turret. Everything's going A-OK. CS pretty even across the board. Jensen does have a CS and pressure advantage in his lane, but other than that, it's nice and even. Certainly going to be a very different looking game for Contractz, who going to have to play a much fairer looking Kayn game. Pirean have done a really good job kind of responding to a very, very new threat. And MikeYeung even trying to camp out. He's going to get stunned as a result. Look for the all-in with the flash body slam into the cast. Jensen going to try and get the kill with a knockoff from Xpecial. Claims MikeYeung first blood.
Yeah, everybody gets a piece of that one. Pirean, he was kind of stunned while looking sideways. It still landed, though. It still wasn't enough. But because they had traded so many summoner spells, that just means everybody gets to show up there. MikeYeung blows the flash on the body slam and helps pick up that kill and get some first blood.
And all of a sudden, that pressure that Jensen had kind of dissipates with a nice bit of play from P1.
Right here, goes aggressive. Pirean's like, all right, no comment. Still, oh, the TP in the back too, so they actually cancel a TP on that. So TP advantage for Zig. So they actually get a lot out of that as Phoenix1.
Yeah, Smoothie was there, but roamed up a little late.
Yeah, actually that affects pretty much the whole map because that means you have TP advantage top, you have kill advantage in mid, you have more pressure there as well, and then your jungle is actually in a better spot as a tank jungler up against the Kayn because now he has a little bit more gold off that first blood. So overall, that affects your whole top side of the map.
Yeah, and again, kind of interesting to see another kind of fighter assassin versus tank jungler matchup. Game 1, MikeYeung tried to match all that early game aggression with the Kazakhs and did not work out for himself.
Yeah.
This time, looking a lot more comfortable on the tanks.
And everybody's playing a little bit safer because the unpredictability of Kayn. And it's funny because like there's this Reddit post talking about Schrodinger pressure, and I always used to say it with Evelyn, where it was like, if you don't know where she is, she could be everywhere. So you have to kind of respect that. And in game 1, they weren't really respecting that the Kayn could be top lane that quickly. But once they know about it, all it takes is one time, and then they aren't fooled twice by the fact that he gets those really fast leashes and gets to the top side at 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, Kazakh's still farming it out, so again, be curious to track how effective he can be in a much closer game. P1 up in gold after that first blood, but not a massive lead by any means, about 600 gold up. And looks like Jensen's still farming it out.
Yeah, that gold lead is mostly MikeYeung, who's up about 300 right now, and then Xpecial, who's up about 200 himself, or 150. So MikeYeung already completing the Cinder Hulk. They're going to start up the Infernal Drake and get that.
Good early force here.
Kayn's there, though.
No TP, so tough.
Actually, this is, yeah, you have to answer with teleport right now before Impact can interrupt it. Now they're flanked in. This is actually really bad for Phoenix1.
Contractz actually moving in, trying to seal it perhaps, but there's actually a kill onto MikeYeung, goes down as Sneaky. Able to get the kill now. Sneaky still firing away into Xpecial as the passive. Who's going to proc from Braum? Concussive blow seals Xpecial's fate, and C9 win the fight and get the Drake.
Just like last game, Phoenix1's early game moves are actually quite bad. The fact that they went for that and Zig didn't put himself in a place to TP, that was actually something that was kind of inexcusable. You should be in a way, in like a position to TP, and there's more ward control from Cloud9 on the bottom side of the map there.
Jensen chasing in, Q landed, so that's the go button for Cassio. Pirean though with the blue buff, able to wave her out with all his spells, and Hexdrinker will keep him much safer as well. Looks like Sneaky going to continue a run of pressure here on the bot side, but he also picked up a nice chunk of gold himself with a kill and an assist, so carry's starting to pick up steam here for Cloud9.
And I feel like Cloud9 outscale here with their carries. Yeah, like they just have more pressure. Contractz is there. It's a 4-on-4, but Contractz outplays, gets inside of Xpecial, and they dealt so much damage to MikeYeung, who was tanking for so long, and they didn't really have too many damage dealers there because Pirean was locked up in the mid lane. So Cloud9 just with a good collapse and a good team fight on the back of that. It's just the macro game from them. It just seems to be better than Phoenix1's in the early game. They just seem to be off of games 1, 2, and 3, just a little bit of a cut above Phoenix1.
And now C9 actually retake the gold lead. Now the one's up about 600 plus with that Infernal Drake in. C9 have kind of invisible gold as they look to scale up. And like you said, they've got the carries that will benefit from these high damage buffing Drakes. As Zig playing a little safer here on that top side. Impact trying to line up another kill, but tank v tank is about as exciting as you think.
What are you talking about? I love this. I'll play this all day, every day. You get the ease, slow them down, get all the farm.
I mean, when 4 people total come to the lane,
it's a lane swap.
Oh, it's significantly more interesting, but nice ult there from Impact, just kind of buying some time.
Yeah, I mean, hit the minion wave as well. He's trying to thin it out so that they get first turret on bottom side. Trying to just avoid the matchup, I guess. Maybe go for a Rift Herald afterwards, because you can't trade a Rift Herald for a dragon that's not spawned. And that's first turret for Cloud9 off of, honestly, a little bit of a better macro move from them.
Yep. Late-ish swap for P1, but I think doing what they have to here will get the turret.
Yeah, Zig has to back and defend 1v2, possibly 1v3, because they actually don't know if Kayn is there or not. Because Pirean is still in the mid lane. So Errol will get solo turret gold here. The Rift Herald is being started up. We'll see if this Rift Herald turns into anything, or what happens with this bottom tier 2 turret, because Zig has to clear these minion waves.
Well, Pirean also getting pressured here, so Sneaky, again, still firing away. Good stand off the wave there from Sneaky to dodge the AoE that Zig wanted to throw at the wave, and they're going to tank this turret for a little while longer, more than enough to take it down. And P1 are still taking down the Rift Herald. They made this trade last game and did basically no damage to the Rift Herald, so see if they can improve and kind of get the turret they're expected to get.
Exactly. If they get anything and it ends up being a better trade, it would have to be either 2 turrets or the mid turret. Because I consider the mid turret just better than a bottom tier 2. Especially when Jensen's in that lane, you can kind of pin him down. And look at this, just the rotation to the other side.
Xenon here first though, good miasma. Zig gonna get slowed up there, the stun lands through. Zig gonna get trespass on him. Jensen able to get the kill. Contractz now trying to get up, but Impact's there to save him. Contractz flashes back towards his team. Mid turret getting low, P1 can't defend. 5v2 as Xpecial gets snared up. Has his ulti, but it's just gonna get stunned to death.
Gonna keep going.
Able to get the kill.
And they are just being outplayed in terms of the rotation game here. All 3 games in the early game, C9 are just faster on how they get through and to the other turrets. Like, I feel like P1 take too much time to set up the turret dive and to actually execute on it. And we just are looking at a 4-1 turret lead for Cloud9 at 14 minutes.
5,000 gold up as well as a result. A huge swing in tempo for Cloud9, who retook the gold lead and then just all of a sudden roar ahead in this game. P1 going to be fighting a pretty uphill battle, given that Cloud9 have had yet another spectacular early game. Of course, we have to raise the question, you know, can they more comfortably close this game? I think compositionally, they'll feel a bit better as Contractz gets the grump and bails out of the way.
Arrow was looking more for damage than to actually steal it there, because he did have an opportunity to do so, but Contractz just smites it, takes it. Now there's all these outer turrets for them to take. And Phoenix1, you'd expect them to be able to push and maybe get the bottom one, but the setup is very important here.
So back in mid lane, Contractz transforming. I think a similar time here. It looks like it will be back into Darkened form. There is Rust.
Yeah, he was telling me 11 to 15 minutes is usually when he'll transform. Apparently in the first game, oh, it shivered there. It was very cool. Rift Herald. Anyway, yeah, he was saying that he was hitting a little bit too many of those ranged champions.
Yep. Got the
transforming
got the wrong form.
Oh.
Good spell shot there from Arrow. Impact it. Yeah, I got a flash. Xpecial. I'm going to chase you. Stun there after the auto with the trample stacked up and Impact. Maybe too tanky. Xpecial also tanking Far too many turret hits as Contractz going to try and reverse this.
And this is the impact that C9 fans are waiting to return, where he can outplay, set up, and now everybody's collapsing.
Oh no, now
Contractz
there's
has
the
the
knock-up. Contractz spinning back in towards it as the rest of Cloud9 joins down here. 3v4 with the turret up because Cloud9 are pushing top lane.
Yeah, it's 5-1 in turrets, and they're about to push for tier 2. All right, Phoenix1. There's some talking you need to start doing about how these turrets are important. Like this, nobody's backing either right now to get this. Like they are actually just seeding this turret and this pressure for one. They got to get something back.
Well, they got a turret, but they're going to lose another one. And Zapling going to deny it back. Xpecial might even be at threat of dying here.
They have actually just lost all 6 of their outer turrets at 16 minutes and 10 seconds.
Contractz also maybe chasing. He's just going to dash through the wave right now.
And it's not even like they're being destroyed in terms of kills or anything. It's 4-1 in kills. There are more turrets taken than kills in this game. And most of those kills happen because people were defending turrets with numbers disadvantages.
Damn, Contractz not able to get on top of Alistar fast enough. That grace period at the back of recall, able to save Xpecial, but C9 again still finding that pressure and going to move back down towards this Cloud Drake. Pick that one up for themselves.
Yeah, Phoenix1 don't even get the Cloud Drake either. The Drake is going to go over to Cloud9 here. And now Phoenix1 get to play on the back foot with all the turrets down, saying it like it's a reward or something for letting their turrets die.
It's certainly a challenge.
Yeah, they get to, you know, get all these minion waves, scale, not outscale, but scale. I feel like Cloud9 with this gold lead as well as the champions that they've selected this game are in an incredibly good spot because of the way that they played the early game. Like, now they just have to worry about how are they going to siege and have enough vision control this early in the game to get those turrets down that are the inhibitor turrets.
Just enough time maybe to check in on just what that gold has turned into. Jensen here going to go grab that blue buff. Contractz has a couple items in his warrior, so not super ahead just yet, but Jensen with the roll, plus almost the Seraphs ready to go, and 2 items done for Sneaky means that Cloud9, they're ready to team fight as MikeYeung back in onto Jensen, who does flash out of the way. Xpecial taking damage in the front side. Humble Trespass going to burn that ulti. Smoothie flash off to the knockup. Maokai ulti also going to chase them in as the Glacial Bit is slowing them all down. There's one root, there's the knockup. There's another double root as Sneaky gets that kill. 2 for himself already as that's another one. Kayn able to grab it. That's 4 dead on the side of Phoenix1. Arrow going to run back to the turret because he's the only one left.
Yep, he's got some wave clear, but for Cloud9, you know, screw warding. Just fight him. You have the Maokai. You can just throw down the ultimate and people are going to get rooted. You even saw Pirean go for the Valkyrie away, and they're still able to push, force the issue. 18 minutes in, they're going to start getting their 7th turret of the game.
Yeah, inhibitor turret going to fall here on this push. Might even push forward if they feel confident, but Xpecial and Arrow looking to defend this inhibitor, but C9 do not care.
Yeah, I mean, Sneaky still has flash, and they also have ways to just peel back. Feel like you get that inhibitor. And Sneaky now 5-0 and 3, 100% kill participation between him, his support, and the jungler. Everybody has just been grouping up for these team fights. Jensen also outplays here on MikeYeung. Gets the flash afterwards, and that was an immediate cask afterwards, but the cast time, Jensen just barely able to get out there. And then Xpecial pops the ultimate a little bit late, but already taking a lot of damage. But then this wall, like, this is just the enormous power of the Maokai team. Oh my god, it's slow motion. When the kitten wraps around that's actually really creepy. That was a really long necked kitten. I had never looked at that before. And Maokai skin with the ultimate, that was some Dr. Seuss stuff that's going on there.
Alrighty, well,
all right.
Thankfully, it's a very powerful ultimate. Although now Zyrene will
so we'll get to see it a lot.
Way. Yeah, especially with this skin. It's adorable.
Like wrapped around him, a root. I was like, what's going on?
Uh-oh, Jensen.
All
right, stand and fight. Oh, maybe not for too much longer. A chain of stuns will land. Good spell shield from Arrow. Pirean's going to join the party as well, and credit over to the Corki.
Baron up in 10 seconds. That's actually big, because now there's a possibility that they could win a Baron fight or take a Baron fight. So you're going to see the minion waves be shoved in by Cloud9 right now as they try to make sure that isn't something that happens.
He's toward the Baron as well. Zeke will need to be around, but he does have teleport. Peace can obviously help a power play onto the Baron if P1 want to rush it down, but Contractz kind of jungling instead, and C9 not going to lose too much there as they take over the correct side of the map.
Yep, Phoenix1, control wards all throughout the inventory now. Making sure that they can at least reestablish some vision control. Jensen went down. No Baron was done there. But they do have this Kog'Maw that's 5-0 and 3. Like, Sneaky has a lot of that gold lead. He's 3,000 gold ahead of Arrow. Like, this Kog'Maw has already scaled. We talked about you got to wait 20 minutes. He's already there.
Yep, no waiting necessary.
And even if you catch him, he does have QSS, but Contractz also a large part of their gold lead, up 2 levels.
Just very sticky. Bit of damage there on the ulti. Going to walk back through that wall and just kind of bait them all in. Another good double knockup as he blasts going back over the other side of terrain. Contractz, knowing all the ins and outs, Xpecial is going to be the one left out to dry. Just a lot of stuns. Gonna follow that cow, and Xpecial goes down.
Yep, Zig was pushing bottom during that time, didn't TP in either. They felt like, you know, they could maybe get something there or try to peel back, but no Contractz. I feel like this Kayn is actually quite good. This is by far the best Kayn that I have seen.
Looks very well practiced, and such a sticky champion as well.
And I like that he's messing around with the mobility. He's playing around with it.
All right,
Go everybody down.
MikeYeung, they're gonna burst him down. Should be able to get him. Arrow though kills Smoothie. MikeYeung does fall, but Contractz on a rampage to get back on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, MikeYeung has saved games before at Baron. Zig though, Zig flashing.
He wants to try and beast it away. Zig just goes in and takes the Baron down. Cloud9 will get the kill. Contractz chasing. Gonna try and take down another, but Pirean backs out of the way and Contractz can't find him.
So the Cho'Gath flashes in, finishes off the Baron with the E, the percentage HP damage, but who's gonna live with it?
Oh no. Xpecial frozen in midair with a headbutt as he goes down to Jensen. Arrow's still going to get chased. Contractz
yeah, they're going to keep pushing.
Base gate.
They still have super minions to clear out here. Corki does great damage to them because they have negative magic resistance. So he's able to clear, but still on the back foot. They got a little bit of gold back, but they lost a lot of members to do so.
And I think that may be something we continue to see as teams adjust to 7-14. Cho'Gath, very good at taking Baron when his ultimate's up.
Yeah, it was like Callista was one of the ones, but that was more Baron securing, and now Callista not so much prioritized in this series, but then Cho'Gath able to steal. We just saw it there.
Yeah, normally when you kill the jungler, that's all systems go for the Baron, but now Super Nunu ready to steal that one away from the top lane as Zig kind of keeps his team afloat here in this game. P1 still 7,000 gold down with that mid inhib, looking to respawn soon, but Cloud9 in position to threaten it. Definitely some momentum halted there, but P1 firmly on the back foot as Cloud9 continue to have full control of this game, or almost full control. I guess Baron was the one slip up.
Yeah, went for the Baron, Zig TP, or walked up actually, didn't even have to TP into that, and then just got it. Kind of slipped through their fingers, but still, looking at a very fed Kog'Maw, 100% KP still for him, and now the only member who has 100% kill participation on his team.
But gold to spend as well as Cloud number 2.
Most gold in the game.
Over to C9, almost 2,000 to go spend, 1850, as he's actually going to keep pushing things out. But watch this one again, C9, they thought they had everything worked out here.
Yeah, impact flash over for the root, trying to kill MikeYeung, who body slams. It doesn't really go anywhere, but then Zig kind of hanging around. It's the sneakiest dinosaur. And then he's like, oh wait, 1,600, 1,400, let's go. Goes in, hits it.
Pirean helps out. Now we're going to fight on the bottom side. Maokai ulti already expanded. His Contractz dives in, but he's actually have to use the ulti to try and defend himself there. Dashes out of the way, but not quite enough. Huge fire knock-off, but Contractz is going to fall. Jensen flashes in though to try and finish off. Knocks him back into the team. Sneaky still needs to keep moving, but he gets headbutted back by Xpecial. Arrow grab the door. Phoenix1, a miraculous team fight on the bot side. Almost acing Cloud9. In fact, that is the ace.
I don't even know what just happened there. They threw the cask from Gragas into Jensen. That was great from MikeYeung to turn that around, but Contractz and Impact overdove, and we talked about how they're losing in turrets. There's a lot of turrets for them to pick up here. Let's watch that again, because we didn't see the setup for this, because the replay. Maokai ultimate comes through, they soak it. Okay, that lands on the tanks, then they overdive here. Contractz goes in, they do a lot of damage and force him to use Umbral Trespass on whoever he can, because you have to have dealt damage to the person. So he goes on MikeYeung, who pulls him back. Great W there to knock him multiple people, but they kill him. Then Jensen flashes forward with the ultimate to try and kill, and it doesn't do enough there. And then MikeYeung with the body slam flash and the cast to get him into the team. As just an obliteration there. Where Arrow, we talked about, you know, how some people are deathless in this game, like Contractz, Sticky before that point. Arrow is still deathless. Even though his team was losing and on the back foot and the Kog'Maw was fed, Arrow was able to scale up a bit, get to those crit items, and take over with the Ricochet in that fight.
Well, not too many turrets taken. I believe P1 only got one with a bit of Baron left after pushing out of their base and finally taking that mid outer. So Cloud9 again still up, but that gold lead got cut almost in half. They're only 4,000 gold up now.
Like, this is going to be one of those games where if Phoenix1 are able to pull this out, Zig kept them in the game as a 0-3-0 Cho'Gath, but then MikeYeung set up the play, and then Arrow was able to capitalize. And that Baron power play, like you said, able to cut that gold lead in half. And now Phoenix1, with their inhibitors up, are in an okay position now to engage. Jensen doesn't have flash for another 3 minutes. So, same with Sneaky. So this is actually something where Alistar is in a great position to dive with a Sivir ultimate.
That might be a little too keen on this fight, but MikeYeung stunned up by concussive blows. Everyone going to dive big with the Maokai ult. Wonderful there from Impact. They just have to try and kill Arrow. Impact soaking what he can as Sneaky still free firing, but a good cast separates the carry there from C9. Might still be too far ahead of Zig's going to get assassinated by Contractz ulti. Up. And there's Alistar going down. Pirean going to get exhausted. Cloud9 going to force them off these inhibs and retake mid once more.
Yeah, great from C9 for Sneaky and Jensen not to stand next to each other at all. They've made that mistake against a team like Counterlogic Gaming, and they don't stand next to each other. You see, Xpecial really has to choose who his target is. Gets rooted, takes him a lot of time, eventually goes on to Jensen, and Sneaky gets the free fire at that point.
Now back to spend some of their gold. Baron up in under 2 minutes. C9 take 2 pretty good inhibitors when your next objective to threaten is Baron. GA now done for Contractz. Sneaky also going to go back, spend a massive pile of gold, and Hintu's Rage Blade is his purchase as a result. So the lead is still there for C9, but this fight could have been a lot closer.
Yep, just hit the go button here. W's in, and then right here, Xpecial really wants to hit both Sneaky and Jensen, who are on each other now, but then he gets rooted by Impact, and then they spread out, because Xpecial's looking for both, goes after Jensen, goes after the big group of people, and then the cast comes out and only is able to separate and not really pick up much more, because Arrow is having to kite back, and that 500 range of the Sivir really comes into play there, where he's not able to get the ricochet bounces he wants.
Well, all that gold spent now for Cloud9, who kind of overstayed pressuring those inhibitors just to try and take them down, but they find the right fight, and now only have top to work on with Baron spawning in a minute. So everything lining up here for C9, even an Inferno Jet coming 30 seconds after that Baron if they need that as well. And P1 gonna have to really manage these waves well, or just find another great engage.
Yeah, I don't know how you get in on this though. You have to kind of wait for your side waves to push. The static shiv plus the Sivir crit makes it pretty much impossible. You have to dive, wait for Impact to ulti, but yeah, I feel like you just buy space to get to that Baron.
That does seem to be the plan here for Cloud9.
Yeah, just keep your minion wave shoved up, because your bottom and mid are going to auto-shove, so shove top, stay there. Not really commit for anything, but make sure that they can't push it out before the Baron spawns.
You can see Arrow dealing with the wave at least briefly.
They want no more Cho'Gath shenanigans.
Yeah, they do have to kill 2 different tanks here, which is pretty tall order.
Yeah. Cho'Gath bite does
1,200
damage right now.
Really nice to depart them from Contractz, but taking maybe too much damage on the other side. Was looking for a very sneaky wall knock up there. P1 able to stick together and stay safe. Impact still threatening, doesn't have flash. Let's go for the flash W.
Phoenix1, all split long, especially during the beginning of the split, have always struggled in these situations. They usually go for the team fight. But you can see Zig has to clear out the base or else they'll lose that turret, and they may lose it anyway. Getting it cleared out. So they'll start this up. They know the Cho'Gath isn't even nearby.
A lot of Baron damage, though. Could be a smite fight. MikeYeung going to make his way in. No. Contractz able to just smite it away. That went instantly down by C9.
Yeah, went down to 400. MikeYeung would have had to just get in there immediately. But now with the Baron buff and kind of remedying the mistakes and being more methodical about it as they go for that Baron, Cloud9 don't want to have another thing kind of slip through their fingers in this game.
You can almost feel them just take a breath in after that Baron, saying, we got the inhibs, we'll slow it down and kind of end the game the way we know how. C9 again have found so many leads, but haven't closed that many games recently.
Yeah, overdove on the bottom side. Don't want to do that on the top. They're just going to use the Baron. Slow shove in, try to get that third inhib.
Well, inhib is available as the turret goes down. But again, just patience required here for C9. They're going to have Baroned up super minions soon if they want to walk towards mid or bot. It looks like the seed is going to be pretty well sustained here.
Yeah, but there's a big bottom lane wave, and so they'll let that shove in. That bottom tier 4/Nexus turret. The Nexus turret is really low on the bottom side, so these minions will be able to push in and get that. So they're just sticking around. They're much stronger as well anyway.
Contractz the one kind of far forward, dashes on to Zig. Righteous Corki popped.
Gonna have to go in.
Gonna give him some healing. Contractz gets a good amount of health back all the way in as the in-hit goes down. Maokai ultimate up to the side, going to find them on the flank angle. Alistar again knocked up forever. That's MikeYeung, excuse me, as he falls down. Xpecial pumps the ulti back in onto Jensen and Smoothie, but sorry, Sneaky and Smoothie, but that's not enough as he grabs the double. But triple kill there for Sneaky. It might be finally here as Kayn revives with the GA. Arrow again moves forward. Sneaky still wicking, and there's Arrow coming down. That's going to be the quadrant. No, he needs the damage. Doesn't use it. Sneaky firing away. There's the shutdown of the Corki. And the unofficial penta-kill goes over to Sneaky. Cloud9 get the ace, grab the Nexus, and win the series.
A little bit too much time between the third and fourth kill. Unlucky, but Cloud9 took no luck for them to win this game. 2-1 over Phoenix1. Kind of coming back from that slump that started at Rift Rivals, able to take down the team that was surging, and this is gonna make the standings very interesting now because there is a three-way tie for first, and now there are 3 teams that are 4th, 5th, and 6th with 7 wins apiece. They've also put 3 matches between the 6th place and the 7th place teams now. So the standings right now, it's becoming like a top 6 for the playoff teams, and then it's going to be very hard for those teams, those bottom 4, to make a surge. And Phoenix1 is one of those teams. It's going to be much harder for them to try and make playoffs now.
And it is such a critical moment in the standings for so many teams who are getting, you know, really with 3 weeks left to play, the real business end of the split. But I cannot think of a better way to start this week off on a new patch with 2 teams in very interesting spots for themselves as far as their standings. So Cloud9, yes, they kind of scrape out the win there at 2-1 with 2 impressive wins and 1 decent looking loss, although P1 have to be credited for their draft and execution in that game. But we asked what 714 was going to bring to us here in the NALCS, and it has delivered everything and more. 2 Kayn gains and 2 wins for Contractz. Cho'Gath and tanks everywhere. Dust blades abound.
Yeah.
This patch has got it all, Irene.
I feel like when a patch comes out, you always have to really heavily look at how many games that series went and who was on what side. Because game 1, we saw the Caitlyn priority from C9 and the Cho'Gath priority from Phoenix1. And then game 2, it went, oh, Maokai's actually stronger, and Phoenix1 first picked it. And then it went back where Cloud9, instead of picking like a Caitlyn or leaving a Caitlyn up from Phoenix1's side, they allowed them to have the Maokai first pick. And so we're seeing here, what if it was the other way around? What if it had been blue side for Phoenix1 when the discovery of the Maokai priority had been around? Is that a different pick ban in the series? Because that means actually a whole lot from a coach's perspective of how the series develops, right? Because we saw the priority change because Phoenix1 had the opportunity to like take a Cho'Gath, and they were like, no, Maokai's more important. And then that exact thing happened here as well in game 3.
Yeah, they also got Cho'Gath at the end of it, so I think they weren't too unhappy with the trade. That may be something we have to look forward to C9 play more games, is like, do they just not play the champion? Yeah. Like, every team's going to have a different interpretation of this patch, and that's kind of the fun thing for me.
Exactly. You can kind of see those scrim pods, but I personally feel like Maokai is probably the first pickable champion right now. I would not be surprised at all if he ends up on a red side ban, almost permaban status, because of the fact that he's flexible. But then it always ends up being like, they could just play Cho'Gath instead, and then what's your answer to Cho'Gath if Maokai's not on the table? So the red side, you know, they're going to have their work cut out for them moving forward.
And I think, again, looking at Contractz is kind of our last highlight here. Didn't do too much damage in game 1, did more damage than Jensen in that last game. So yeah. Kayn maybe a little bit better than we thought.
Yeah, but you do always have, you know, Sneaky sitting there. I think he has 1,000 damage per minute.
Kog'Maw, that's true.
1,000 damage per minute this game, over 1,000 damage per minute. So, you know, nod to Sneaky there, who was having a bad week in the last week and Rift Rivals, but it seems to have been stepping it up again.
Looking just fine there. Well, for more on that C9 win, let's send it over to Digon, who's standing by to interview the victorious jungler.
All right, thank you very much, Pastry. I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez, and joining me is the victorious jungler, Contractz. Now, Contractz, you can't not talk about this interview without telling me about Kayn. What's up with Kayn? You had it the whole game and dominated with it.
Well, you know, Kayn's obviously the new champion that just came out, and when I first saw him, I thought he was super fun. He looks like super mobile and just an assassin that I would love to play. So obviously I started playing him right away, just nonstop spamming him in solo queue. And I had a little bit of success in him early, but I was like doing shadow form, and I don't think it's actually too good right now. So once I started using Darkin, I had a lot more success. And overall, I just think he's a pretty good champion into a lot of the tank junglers that are meta right now. He's really good at counter jungling and invading without... He's really safe at invading because he has a lot of mobility to get out of the jungle. So overall, I think he's a pretty good pick right now.
Yeah, and the times that you had him, you guys really did a solid job. But in game 2, something kind of didn't go right. How did you guys transition from that tough game 2 into game 3?
Well, game 2 is a little rough because we had like 3,000 or 4,000 gold lead, but we misplayed a lot of team fights, and we realized that Taric was also a big problem in that game. He had a lot of clutch ultimates that just completely made us lose team fights single-handedly. And going to game 3, wanted to ban Taric to get it out of the way because we didn't think the tanks were too big of a deal, personally. So yeah, we just wanted to ban out Taric, and it went a lot better for us.
Cool. Now let's talk a little bit about the season itself. Last season, you guys had huge success. This season's been a little bit inconsistent. For you as a player, what has this season meant to you? Well,
it's my second split in the LCS, so obviously I just want to improve as much as I can going into playoffs. And, you know, the main goal is obviously Worlds at the end. And I think personally, in the beginning of the split, I wasn't doing too hot as a jungler individually. And I think in the past couple weeks in Rift Rivals, I showed that I can compete with the best and I can improve really rapidly. And I think just going into future games, I will do really well for myself.
Awesome. And you do have a matchup against Team Dignitas. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts taking them on Sunday.
Well, I think Dignitas is a little weird. I haven't really been paying attention to them too much personally, but they've been winning a lot. And they play a lot of Nunu, so I think we have to watch out for that. But I think my Kayn will do quite swell against that.
All right, Kayn, Nunu, you got a lot of picks up against them. Congratulations once again to Contractz. For more on the game, we're going to send it over to the caster desk.
Thank you very much, D-Gon, and welcome officially to the NALCS casting team, our newest addition. You'll be seeing more of him throughout the coming weeks, hopefully. Can't guarantee, right?
Get him out of there.
Anyway, hey, we move into game 3 of the series. C9 picks it up off of making some adjustments. We heard Contractz talking about some of those adjustments, so I want to pull up that champ select one more time because it's kind of the theme of the day, is how our team's navigating patch 7.14 with both lethality and tanks kind of rising to the top. We see this time around, C9 identifies that one of their big issues was not being able to eat through those tanks, and in particular, the Taric from game 2. So Taric goes to the ban table, and we draft a heck of a lot more DPS.
I think that's the big thing is that backline. So obviously they also have the Alistar this time. So yeah, you get rid of the Taric, and this is what I was saying is that there's so many options available that you kind of get forced into having to play this kind of tank style. Let's say you take out the Maokai, great. Sejuani, you take out the Gragas, okay, maybe there's another thing you throw in there. Zach snicks through. There's so many different champs.
Exactly.
That you're going to end up with a lot of tanks on this patch. And you see, once again, both teams end up with that. The big X factor was the Kayn for the second game time. This on blue, and I gotta say, I really like what I see out of the Kayn. Contractz was able to use it pretty well again to help his team get some advantages, and once you have that lead and you have these two kind of team comps that play the same way and have a ton of beef and engage, games can get out of hand.
And that's the big difference between games 2 and 3, right? Because in game 2, C9 had a similar gold advantage at a similar point in the game. However, the way that their team comp in game 2 stacked up against Phoenix1 meant that after that 25, 30-minute mark, it was going to become infinitely more difficult for them to win team fights. This time around, they draft essentially identical comps in terms of the way they want to play.
Yep.
And then it's just about, well, if we get ahead, we're snowballing to victory. You're an item and a half behind in all categories.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about tanks is that they bring so much engage and they kind of nullify turrets a little bit with the extra health that you have that you can really snowball those games as long as you keep up the aggression. And C9 was able to, off the back of some nice skirmishes that we were highlighting the Kayn, especially the Dragon fight at 10 minutes, like you get to see why this champion is so impactful sometimes, because especially when people aren't used to playing it, you see they try and target him down really early on. He's actually able to use his ultimate to dodge out on some more damage, survive that engage, and then he life steals back up and can continue fighting. And that skirmish was a huge factor in why this game started going in C9's favor, because not only do you stop P1's dragon attempt on an infernal dragon of all things, you get it for yourself and 2 kills. So that was a huge play, once again started by Contractz.
Fast forward to 18 minutes into the game, we get a 4-for-0 in the mid lane for C9 as well. Once again, showing their ability to navigate these team fights. The teleport comes in from the Maokai, and that's going to be what they need in order to make this fight happen. The ultimate, as well as the twisted advances onto these means no one from Phoenix1 is going to get out of here.
This is what we're saying, the snowball starts to kick in because you have so many engaged tools. Maokai drops that ultimate, they have to run all the way up the lane to try and get away. A couple of those connect, and then the rest of the team has these speed up to get in range. They're able to finish off multiple members of P1 there, and then the game, I think they took an inhibitor off that push just 18 minutes in.
Exactly. Now, and then one thing I'll say I noticed following that series is that C9 didn't look particularly ecstatic about the victory, right? And I think in part, that is mostly because they did, even in their victories, we still saw stumbles. And in particular here in game 3, 23-30 into the game, we see them hand a pretty large advantage back to Phoenix1 in the bot lane, 5-for-2, going in favor of the Phoenix1 squad.
Here you see Impact trying to do the kind of zoning Maokai ultimate to push them off the turret, and the backline members continue to melt that down, but Contractz kind of goes in a little bit too far here, has to use his ultimate to stay alive.
Yeah, watch Sneaky and Jensen, and look how much damage they put out. Neither of them have hit an enemy champion yet. They just did for the first time.
And they do it right as Contractz dies. So Jensen flashes forward, which is nice, but you no longer have a front line. Impact was at around 20% health. Contractz dead. He gets focused down. A really nice follow-up there by Xpecial, able to headbutt Sneaky back into the team. And then once your backliners are dead, that team fight is completely over. And you get to see a little bit of that miscoordination there that bit them in the butt in game 2 as well. The difference was, like you said, their team comp much better this time around, as well as already having a larger gold lead, so they're able to sustain it. But that big dip that you see on the gold graph there, not a good sign if you're C9.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that dip is essentially a failure of execution, but because, as we mentioned, these two team comps are so similar, still maintaining that gold lead off the back end of that fight means that as long as they approach the next fight correctly, they should still win out.
And that's what happened. They slow the game down a little bit. They end up forcing around Baron again, and then they can close the game out very cleanly.
We got to give credit to Zig for the heads-up play around the first Baron where he gets the steal. You know, tracking that health. A lot of times the Baron health gets lost in the skirmishes. He makes it into the pit. That elongated the game even as far as it did.
I think that's one of those situations where it's just a little bit of unfamiliarity again with the champion because you're used to playing against, oh, we killed their jungler because you saw C9 turn off and kill MikeYeung right away. They're like, great, now we get the free Baron. And you forget.
Nope.
Never mind, there's a Cho'Gath in the game. I haven't played against this in a little while. So nice steal by Zig, well-timed, well coordinated on P1 because you saw Ryu throwing damage in as well.
But continued struggles for Phoenix1 here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Remember, they're not picking up, they pick up a game victory, but not a match victory. And that's what you need in terms of pushing towards that playoff position. At this point, the gap is almost insurmountable for them in terms of making it into the postseason. Sneaky, this time around, picking up player of the game. Again, we want to give a nod to Contractz for the work that he did on the Kayn in terms of getting people rolling and really showing incredible prowess on this new pick, but the late game damage coming in from the Kog'Maw, and Sneaky actually had a pretty solid series all around.
I think that's the big thing is that one death that he had this game, I'm pretty sure was that headbutt in by Xpecial, who after his team had already kind of gone too deep, you kind of get chased down by all those engaged. So there's not much you can do as a Kog'Maw at that point. So that was a little bit of an unfortunate death, but he played super well positioned, never got caught out, and had a good laning phase pretty much every time.
All right, well, that's going to do it for Series 1. Now, don't feed to the rules and hit the ground running. Up next, Team Liquid take to the Rift versus Team Envy. We'll see you soon.
Body slam into the cup. Jensen gonna try and get the kill, but the knockup from Xpecial claims MikeYeung first blood. Just actually moving in, trying to steal it perhaps, but there's actually a kill onto MikeYeung. Goes down as Sneaky, able to get the kill.
I'm looking for Alistar. I checked them. He's done. And then push forward. And we keep back, pressure. I'm on Corki.
I'm on Gragas.
I can't take Corki. I'm on Corki. I'm on Braum. Corki. Oh, I'm not Braum. Hey, Corki. Nice.
Knocks him back into the team. Sneaky still needs to keep moving, but he gets hit by the back by Xpecial. Arrow grab the Phoenix quad. A miraculous team fight on the bot side. Xpecial bumps the ulti back in onto Jensen and Smoothie, but Sneaky and Smoothie, but that's not enough as he grabs the double. A triple kill there for Sneaky. Cloud9 get the ace, grab the Nexus, and win the series.